Hello, everybody. Welcome once again. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with Xfinity right now. This is outside of my control. It's been bad the last couple of days. It comes and it goes. It comes and it goes, and it's affected my work. It's affected, and apparently it's now affecting down in the valley. I've really got to get this sorted out, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about all the confusion. I'm sorry about all the spamming trying to get the stream back up, where it automatically like posts into Twitter. Extremely sorry about that. Hopefully everybody will be able to come back to the stream. I've been able to post the new link on Twitter and on Facebook. Hopefully, we can get some of the people that were watching back. Um, Thank you, Harry, for putting up with all of this. Thank you for all of your support, man. Um, but anyways, let's start the whole process again. Bum, bum, bum. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Down in the Valley. Proud to be a member of the Beautiful Game Network. If you guys want to check out our podcast as well as other USL and MLS podcasts, including The Peel, be sure to check out their website at bgn.fm. You can also check out their sponsors, Roughneck Scarves, Icarus FC. Be sure to support the Beautiful Game Network like that. You can also check out our sponsor, Natural Beauty Spa. Be sure to check them out on Twitter and on Facebook mostly now. Be sure to find them under Natural Beauty Spa McAllen, and on Instagram as well, Natural Beauty Spa McAllen. Hopefully everything get back to in running order once COVID hopefully disappears in the future. Also, don't forget, check out our podcasts, our audio podcasts on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, and Spotify, and SoundCloud. Actually, I'm missing SoundCloud. And now, as we are transitioning from SoundCloud to Anchor.fm, you'll be able to check out on multiple platforms in the future. So be on the lookout for that and with that transition period. Now, having said all of this, hopefully, number one, the internet doesn't give out again. But number two, let's go ahead and give a huge welcome to the friend of the podcast from South Texas Border Sports, Ray Silva. Ray, how are you doing today?
Hello, Edson. Everything is all well here in deep South Texas. Survived Hurricane Hannah, survived the 3 a.m. game. That was Tulsa RGVFC. More on that in a minute. Let's get this show rolling.
All right, so first of all, let me get rid of this thumbnail view. All right, there we go. All right, so first of all, this is going to be a direct program. No if that's or what's about it. No sugarcoating this. We're going to we're going to be blunt about all of the topics that we're going to be talking about today. Hopefully, Jacob will be joining us in the during the time, but we are opening up the phone line, as you can see. We're opening up the phone line at 956-622-5977. And now we have Jacob on the show. Jacob, how are you doing, man? Are you in? All right, he's barely connecting. So we've got all three of us on the show today, but there's a lot to talk about. We've got the game against Tulsa and all the shenanigans that happened on the during that game. We've got the shenanigans. We've got this roster, and who the hell needs to wake up from this roster going forward. And we're not going to go light about it. And I can assure you, neither Ray nor Jacob are going to hold back on what needs to be said. And like I said, it's going to be open for you guys to call in the show and give y'all's takes as well. How's it going, Jacob, man?
It's going all right. Yeah, not doing too bad.
Ready for this show?
Oh yeah, I'm ready for this show. This is going to be very fun because, as we all know, we ain't too happy.
So, alrighty then. So, going into the chat, first of all, Harry says, so when do we just get to name Ray as one of the regulars of Down in the Valley? Good question.
Up to Ray.
Sorry,
Maybe.
Harry. I'm going to break it to you, Harry. I've been a regular, but you just don't know it.
He's been the one pulling the strings in the background.
Yeah, Harry. So,
Mr. Statsman himself.
he who orchestrates, he that conducts in the background, my friend.
I'm also going to say this, Ray. Shout out to you for fighting through all the way till 3 a.m. in the morning last Saturday to Sunday.
I know. He's like,
Toros play.
while I was having some beers, this guy was out there weathering everything at the stadium, man. So kudos to him. That takes dedication. Harry says that as well.
I do what I can to serve our sports community. You know, we may not be big and vocal in numbers, but we are a community at the end of the day, and we just need to hold each other's arms and try to fight this as peacefully as we can without forcing anything.
So, all right, let's get this show on the road. Actually, so Michael obviously says the GK and McLaughlin. We'll talk a little bit more there. Johnny brings up a good point, and we'll touch upon this, but he says that Kyle Adams has regressed. But all right, let's take a look at this game on Saturday/Sunday morning between RGVFC and FC Tulsa. There really isn't much to say. Final score 2-1. Another loss. I mentioned it last week. If we cannot beat Tulsa, then we've got a long rest of the tournament ahead of us. And I know that, Ray, you probably have all of the stats from that game. First of all, what were your thoughts? You were present at the stadium.
Well, to be really honest, I was even surprised the game was even played under such unusual circumstances because I've been involved in the sports world for quite some time, and more specifically in the soccer community, not as much, but I will say that this match, under any other circumstance, would have been played up to 70 minutes, and the team could have probably salvaged a last minute draw, but then we had tragedy, a strike at the very last minute.
Mm-hmm.
Had the game been played up to 70 minutes. But I will say that, oh man, you know, I see this team and I see sometimes a lack of commitment from some of these players. What are we doing as a team? What have we not done incorrectly? Is one of the questions I want to ask. And I'm looking at you, front office. I'm going to call you out here. I'm going to call you out because the way the game was handled, granted, it was not the best. It was not the best, not for the interests of the players, for your staff that had to ordeal all that, but more importantly, the overall situation in which the game was played in.
So let's kind of put everything into context as to where you're heading at. Okay. So go ahead and explain exactly what happened through all of this delays.
Okay, so I get to the park just past 6 o'clock. By 6:30, I was already in my cubicle, tweeting out game information and so on and so forth. About 7 o'clock, there's a little bit of rain coming through, and then we start seeing lightning strikes, and then it started thundering. So then, about 7:30, I get I get word that there's going to be a delay. And as time passes on, uh, as I keep seeing lightning strikes, okay, the clock resets again, and sure enough, it's already 8:15, and I get word that okay, game has been moved on, and moved on, and moved on. So okay, fine, no big deal. Once 9 o'clock comes around, it starts slowing down to the point where okay, where now we might have an actual game. Well, we have to wait another additional 2 hours to finally get the game kicked off. And at this point, I kept seeing players from Tulsa, RGV near the tunnel area, uh, and they were just like in a state of disbelief, for to put it in a sense of better words. Meanwhile, I'm just peeking out my press box area. I'm just peeking out, and I see a large lightning bolt. It was a smart idea for me to peek way back in and not get out. And I figured, oh boy, this is gonna sound loud. Sure enough, it did. And as as I kept asking for updates and I kept posting, next thing you know, hey, we're kicking off at close to 11 p.m. And sure enough, we kicked off, and little did we not count with another lightning bolt, in which you humanly described as it shook our entire house.
Mhm.
I felt a little bit of shock too. I felt a little bit of shock too there at HEB Park. At that time, the referee just cleared the field, and that was the halftime. So once things started calming down a little bit, I run into a few people and I ask, "Hey, what's the word?" They tell me, "We're gonna play as is. No 45-minute halftime break. We're just gonna switch sides and play through." But my question to you, front office, and my question to you, why wasn't there more of a full cautious effort to protect everyone? And I mean everyone.
It's ridiculous, man. It's like you would assume that RGV front office, many weeks I've always said technical stuff has nothing to do with RGV front office. That's the dynamo. But as far as direct relations with the league, that is RGV front office. How are you going to let Tulsa push you around, forcing you, your coach, your coaching staff, your teammates to play at 1 in the morning, potentially almost up to 3 in the morning, when there's still lightning strikes around the area, where you know that it isn't safe for staff to head back to their homes at 3 in the morning. We have a curfew in Hidalgo County, too.
That can't really be enforced though. But yeah,
But
we do.
still, the fact that there's a curfew there, you know, you're still putting people at risk, and even
Definitely.
that, look, it's a Saturday afternoon, it's a Saturday evening. whether we want to or not, whether they should or not have parties or anything like that, there's still going to be drunk drivers out there. You're putting your staff, even your players, in a situation not only on the pitch but off the pitch as well, where you are putting their well-being at risk.
Yep.
But you're allowing Tulsa to push the league around, push you around, and say, no, we want to play right now because, and I'm using words quoted from Coach from the press conference, because Tulsa did not want to change their plane ticket itinerary. Are you kidding me? Like, are you serious? And the fact that the USL allowed it is stupid. And the question is, okay, wasn't front office supposed to represent the Toros against the league? And if they did back up the team, well, apparently they didn't do it good enough.
Yep.
Because they still went on with that.
Yep.
And it looks worse if they didn't go out there and back up your players, back up your coaching staff, because you looked weak in front of them. You talk a lot about standing up for the organization, representing the organization, and when push comes to shove, you're nowhere to be found. I find that highly disappointing and highly ridiculous. This are the circumstances where I expect more from front office, from Ron, from everybody else. And I've said it before. Just like we've mentioned the good things about this front office, and just like I warned you, front office, when there's things to criticize, we are going to criticize. This is one of those days. And if you don't like it, well, so be it. Quéjate a la FIFA, como dijo Don Robert. But we are not going to stay silent on this situation. It's embarrassing, to be honest.
Yeah, it is.
And not only that, you are pretty much running the risk that your players and your staff are going to lose trust in you. They're going to lose trust in the organization, which is something that we do not want. This is not all about marketing and selling tickets. That you've made improvements in those areas, I'm glad. But this is also relations between your team and your front office. And in that aspect, at least from what we see, from what Ray is seeing and is talking to us right now, and what we could see, based on common sense from all of these situation, you failed them. You failed your players, you failed your coaching staff, you failed your fans. And I hope that you can remediate this publicly. Because that's what we all deserve as Toros fans, as members of the club, as members of coaching staff, and of course the staff that doesn't necessarily belong in the technical staff. But I'm talking about security. I'm talking about maintenance operations. I'm talking about media relations. All of those people that work in your organization and were forced to be until 3 a.m. working. I think you owe them an apology. That's my point of view on this.
Or a raise, too. Yeah, no, I'm going to continue on what you said as well. I don't even believe that we've heard anything since that game on RGV's take on what transpired, basically, why they had to do that, besides, of course, Coach only stating in the press conference. But, of course, they're not going to say anything on the social media or anything like that with, of course, his basically press conference, stuff like that. It's frustrating. Think of it this way too. Think of the global pandemic doesn't happen in 2020. This is a regular season game in general. We are at home against the Tulsa Roughnecks. And just in general, the game keeps getting postponed and postponed and postponed with fans in the stands. You think of it that way too. Guess what? Bars in a regular time in not only the United States of America, but in Texas, close at 3 a.m. Some even close at 2 a.m. So, yeah, you think of it that way. Even with the fans, there would have been nobody left after the first 3 postponements. Mm-hmm. And then to continue to play on, it looks terrible. Like you said, the front office decided, it really honestly seems like they decided not to back up their team and just allow Tulsa to say, yeah, we'll try and get this game in. You all deserve to have this game played before you fly back to Tulsa, and us not to, totally have to, I guess, reschedule it. I think this is really where it comes down to, is Tulsa was saying, yeah, we're leaving no matter what happens. We can reschedule it on Monday and stuff like that. I think that's kind of what happened, which is stupid considering already the Toros' horrid schedule. And the Toros could have said, okay, you know what? Y'all can forfeit. And that could have been a legitimate argument. So it doesn't seem like they did. I don't care how I'm speaking, how Edson spoke right now, because this should never happen where you stay up until 3 a.m. to watch your team A, lose, and B, have to work until then, especially given the fact it is now, besides the point, it's a pandemic. Just already, you're kind of already breaking laws when games are finished at 10 or 11, when some people can't even, well, for some of the media, technically their curfew's a little bit earlier than everybody else's. So it brings those facts in too. It's just everything about that was terrible. Nobody should be backing this team up about that. No player should, considering, yeah, they were already tired. I don't blame them for losing in the long run too now, because, oh yeah, you couldn't beat Tulsa. No wonder. You all probably had a little bit of a late night. Not saying anything went down, the Friday night before, but players are probably getting to bed 9, 10, 11 p.m., waking up early to go work out or just to have like a breakfast, whatever the case may be, warm up a little bit, you get the blood flowing throughout the day. And so you're talking about them waking up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. depending. Then going all the way over and having to stay up till 3. I've done that one time, and that wasn't even till 3 a.m. That was having to drive all the way back from Corpus Christi for calling a football game. It was the craziest day of my whole entire life, in my opinion. Just point being, I was dead. So these players still having to play soccer, of course they're in disbelief. Of course they feel dead. And of course they're going to make more mistakes. So, yeah. In conclusion, this game should have never happened in general. And the front office looks terrible. And now guess what? They're inviting teams to exactly do that, to bully them.
You know what's funny? During the day on Saturday, Tulsa tweeted out something about messing with Texas. RGV replied with a, they want to mess with Texas kind of thing. Well, guess what? They messed with Texas. They messed with the Toros, and they got away cleanly in all aspects of the situation.
Definitely.
They got away with what they wanted. They got away with the 3 points.
Yeah.
And the Toros front office ended up looking bad in our eyes.
Yep.
Right?
Just being out there, for me, it's a real privilege. Okay? I'll say it once, I'll say it again, and I'll say it as many times as I have to. But I truly felt that the technical staff, I'm talking to you, Gerson Echeverry, I'm talking to you, video people, talking to you, Ryan Coulter, assistant coach, and specifically you all, the players. You guys were let down by your own front office. That's it. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. You
Yep.
guys were all let down. Because I've never been in a situation like this in a sporting event. The best case scenario is either A, reschedule it for the following day, or you completely cancel it and you leave at your own risk. But I've never seen a start time at 11:28 p.m. or 26 p.m. according to the USL Championship official website, with the first with the break coming at around 1 a.m., 1:20ish a.m. coming back from the break.
Mm-hmm.
I completely feel for the players. I feel for Coach Echeverry and all of his staff, that I felt that the team was severely misled by the front office. Yes, did the team equalize? Nice, congratulations, Robert Coronado. You got
Castellanos.
Castellanos. You got yourself your first professional goal on a beautiful
Bro.
pass by Cello and Coronado. Beautiful passes for both of you guys. But I mean, I truly feel for you, the players now.
You know what the worst part is? Is this organization already has bad vibes due to the Dynamo partnership and how they treat their players.
Well,
We're looking to
look,
the MLS. Look, let me just
Okay.
finish my thought. You already have a bad reputation of, well, this is like they treat it like an MLS2 team, but really you have very little chance of making it to the Houston Dynamo and succeeding. You end up most of them end up finding themselves back in the USL Championship anyway, right? And now you have to deal with not the reputation, a potential reputation of your front office, your actual front office, not standing up for you when needed. And that's a double whammy that very difficult to recover from. This is in my eyes. Just a quick disclaimer: like all of the things that we say, this is our personal opinion, have nothing to do with Down in the Valley as an organization in general. These are all the opinions of my opinions, Ray's opinions, and Jacob's opinions. And as you can see, we all have a face and a name to each of our opinions. We are not hiding behind an anonymous account. We are showing our face, and we are very, very up to suffer any consequences from what we say. But I can assure you that what we're saying makes a lot of sense and needs to be addressed at this moment.
I'll be completely honest here. I could have expected this had previous management still been in charge. I could have expected this from previous management. I really could. But now you have a new guy in charge who has gone on record to try to make things better. And this is one of those that'll leave a mark moments. Okay? That'll leave a mark moment. There's no any other way to put it.
And look, and like always, if
I mean, hey, they have the platforms to come talk to us.
exactly, if you guys want to give your side of the story, contact us. We'll be more than happy to have you on the show and explain things. But given this platform and front office still doesn't address this issue, of course we're going to think the worst. And of course we're going to be disappointed with all of this. But front office, we had a lot of high hopes, not only technical, not only on the field side, like Gilbert just mentions in the chat. We had a lot of high hopes coming into the season with how we ended. But we also had a lot of high hopes with this new front office, with Ron Patel coming in. You know, we had a lot of high hopes seeing all of the improvements that we've been seeing in these last couple of weeks, these last couple of months within the Toros organization, trying to get fans into the stadium, you know, looking out for the community. But this is a huge step back. You still have time to make this to make this right for your fans. But like I said, if you don't take advantage of the situation, of course we're going to think the worst out of this. Let me turn on the light.
You know,
You guys have, yeah.
you
go
know,
ahead.
being there at the stadium, you know, I thought I would be in for a very, very interesting night. It didn't become my worst night because physically I was okay. I arrived at the stadium. I was able to do my job, what I love to do. Granted, I don't have a mass comm degree. I don't have a J school degree. J school meaning journalism. But I will say I did. I mean, if I got into this business for this, so be it. Now, if I'm going to face backlash later on for these comments, so be it. You know, but I have a face, I have a brand, I have an identity to represent. And I kind of feel like the technical staff and the players were let down.
Yep. Definitely.
Now, as far as the game goes, you know, first 45 minutes, we give up a goal. We give up a goal, and it was, at what point are we going to get ourselves a decent backup keeper? Because Ryan Coulter doesn't look like he's suiting up anytime soon.
Yeah.
He's preparing more to be a coach now than anything else. He's barely had any playing minutes in the last few seasons.
And I like how we transition into this now. One of the things that we do have to mention, yes, we talked about all the shenanigans that happened, but that should not hide or excuse the lackluster or horrible performance, I should say, that this team has had the last couple of days and the last couple of weeks. One is not exclusive from the other. We can't talk about how bad front office handled this. We can also talk how bad this roster is performing, especially offensively, in the last couple of weeks. Now, if it was because it was only this week they played horrible, okay, we would understand. But if you've got the last 5 games playing horrible offense, this wasn't because of this delay or how it was handled. This is because the roster, especially in the attack, have disappointed with their performances. And we'll talk about this more in depth right now. Just a quick read into the chat. Gilbert says, to cut Ron some slack, he came very late in the season. I mean, the preseason was already here and happening before he even got the job. But look, it's been 5 weeks. He is already established as the president. He could have easily, maybe if he wasn't there at the stadium, but he could have easily sent somebody. You know, if he had received notification of this was happening, he could have easily sent somebody from that upper echelons of the front office.
And look, to be honest, I only saw one front office member there and several staffers of HEB Park. So I never saw Ron Patel personally. I never did run into him at any point. But I only did see one front office member only out there.
Now, I think we do also have to mention that he was recovering from COVID, so that could be an issue why he wasn't there. But he could have easily gotten word of what was happening and sent somebody to mediate for the Toros and representation of in front of the league, and not leave your team and your coaching staff out to dry. Continuing on with the questions. Johnny, like I said, we're going to be talking about that. It all goes back to the team performance on the pitch. Harry asks, my question, would we be saying these things if RGV got the win or even the tie? Absolutely. Absolutely. We would continue to mention this, even if we did get the win.
Yeah,
it's utterly ridiculous.
Exactly. No team, whether it's a visiting team or home team, should be playing that late in general, should have a start time that late in general. Whether, of course, you win or lose, it's still pretty stupid.
Yeah. So here, Johnny says there's no way the Toros will grow when your team is not competitive for 4 seasons. This is a recurring problem. Mm-hmm. We talked about many of these issues, but we'll get more in depth, and we will be calling out some people that I think deserve to be called out. RCN7 says, hay varios que le tienen miedo de recibir un balón. There are some players that are afraid to receive the ball and they hide. We see that. We see some players that they don't want responsibilities with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They receive the ball and they just get rid of it. They try to get rid of it, even if it is to the opposing team. They don't want the responsibility of being able to build up the play or anything like that. Mm-hmm. They don't want the pressure of having, the opposing team coming at you at full speed. They just, I received, then it's like hot potato, dude. It looks like it at times.
Yeah, exactly. And to even add on to that real quick, that's how a couple of these goals throughout this season have been conceded from either bad passes because they just wanted to get rid of the ball. One pass to somebody who was already covered, and then they try to, of course, get rid of it or just get it poked out, and it goes the opposite way, where the goalkeeper now, mainly, of course, Paul Blanchett, has to get ready for this. And then most likely, of course, he's a young goalkeeper. He still needs to improve in general. That's going to happen. He's going to have a little bit of this. He's gotten better. But he'll either save it or sometimes, of course, it will go in the back of the net. We've seen it happen.
Look.
And it's just, it all starts with, once again, it kind of all starts with that midfield to whoever's trying to attack.
Look, going back to the topic that Ray brought up regarding Blanchett. I'm sorry, Blanchett. How many more I wish I had a job where even after making all these major mistakes that are costing your team points, or I wish I had a job where I could still have a job even after making these mistakes that affected your employer. I mean, even Coach said it himself in the press conference. Blanchett has been improving in some aspects, but the blatant mistakes that he makes has cost us 6 or 7 points.
Mm-hmm.
You either pull your big boy pants on and fix those mistakes, or we need to find a replacement, whether it's the academy or going with Ryan Culture. Guys, don't expect reinforcements from the Dynamo. COVID is screwing everything up. Coach said it himself, and I have the video, which I'll be playing later on.
Yep.
from that press conference. I've kind of highlighted, I've kind of compiled together some of the bigger highlights, some of the questions that he answered on Sunday morning. But don't expect reinforcements from the Dynamo. Don't expect Michael Nelson. Don't expect Cropper. Don't expect who else? Obviously, we can't expect on Ben Willis since he's out due to surgery. Paul Blanchett is all we got, or Ryan Coulter. But
Or
it looks like
academy
we're gonna,
kid.
or an academy kid. But at this point, you would put in the academy kid right into. We already know we have no hope for this tournament. This all relies on you, Paul. Look at me straight in the eye. This all lands on you. I'm a huge fan of Nahuel Guzman. Just
Dirty player, folks. Dirty player.
look.
Don't follow
Look.
Noel.
Look, you'll see where I'm getting at. Nahuel Guzman is a great keeper, makes horrible mistakes at times. But why do we as Tigres fans adore him? Because he, with his performances, gave us minimum 3 championships. That is why he has a huge leeway with the organization. Paul Blanchett, what have you brought to this team yet? You don't have that leeway. You don't have that buffer.
You don't have those credits earned.
Exactly. So
Tally Hall's the same way too.
mhm. So you have a huge you have your work cut out for you.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you continue to cost the Toros points due to your mistakes, we are going to be here looking and putting that finger on those mistakes. Your teammates in front of you defensively, Carter Manley, Robert Castellanos, Robert Coronado, Emil Legault, Jonathan Jimenez, or Kyle Adams, they're doing their job. They're clearing out the balls. They're doing everything they can to go for the shutout. But your mistakes have cost us many points. And what's going to happen? Your teammates are going to lose faith. They're going to lose trust in you. And a team cannot do well defensively when they have a teammate that they can't trust to back you up when things kind of get passed by them. I said the same thing against Los Dos. This time, they're doing their job. It seems you're doing your job for 85% of the time, but that 15% is costing us a lot of points. Work on that 15%. I don't expect you to be perfect. And this also goes back to the offense. Let's be honest. Would we be flaming Paul Blanchett as hard as we are right now if the attack would score 2-3 goals and we would be winning? No.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be flaming him that hard. We'd say, oh, he messed up here. But it'd be just that.
Exactly.
We'd move on.
Yeah, exactly.
We wouldn't think too much of it. Why? Because it's only 1 goal or 2 goals. If we would get positive results, because the strikers would put that ball in, we wouldn't be focusing on Blanchett.
Yeah.
But we're focusing on Blanchett because we don't have our offense in all cylinders. We'll rely on the defense, and the defense is doing their job, but those mistakes are costing us. Of course, that's going to happen.
Yep.
And of course, that's going to stand out from everybody else. Mm-hmm. But the offense needs serious work. McLaughlin, what are you doing? Where's the hustle? Look, I understand the schedule really hasn't been favorable. But how can you explain that Carter Manley and Robert Castellanos are still hustling for 90 minutes defensively and still have to do your job up on top and scoring the goals?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you, I don't see any effort in trying to create pressure. I don't see any effort trying to intercept the ball. Look, strikers are your first line of defense. And I don't see a conscious effort to fight for that ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see a conscious effort to put that ball in. It's ridiculous that outside of Luca Purpa's goal against Los Dos, all of the goals have been either from your wingers or from your center back. You're getting paid to score goals. You're getting looked at by the Dynamo as a Dynamo draft pick to score goals. And that goes for you, Luca Purpa, as well. Do your job.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have anybody else to do the job. It all, just like I'm telling Blanchette, I'm telling you too as well. And Kyle Edwards goes to you too. I know you haven't received a lot of minutes, but this responsibility falls 100% on all of the strikers that we have. Do your job. We need you guys. We need you guys to score. Mm-hmm. Give your defense some breathing room. Help them out. Score goals. Pressure. And not let your opponent get all the way constantly to your defensive line. Put that ball in the net. We need goals. And if you don't score, we're definitely not making it to the playoffs. And we cannot afford another failure like this. Sure, me, Ray, Jacob will always be here. Stampede will always be here. But the casual fans will not. Yep. The casual fans, they go by results. And we're talking about 4 years of negative results, not making it to playoffs. Patience is running thin. You can market this team all you want. You can improve the marketing all you want. Ray, I said it on your show yesterday. If the performance doesn't match the marketing, no matter what you do marketing-wise, they're not going to stay. That's just the reality of the fan base in the Rio Grande Valley.
You know, I've been around the sports world here in the RGV for quite a number of years. I've even had a fellow journalist that I have some street cred, which made me blush a little bit. And I can tell you that this team has been scarred down to its bare bones, performance-wise. I mean, not performance-wise. Let me take that back. It's been scarred down to like the deepest of its bare bones as far as talent is concerned. Now, whether we sign players on our own terms or they get assigned down to us, at this point, the responsibility now just falls on the players. It's all on you guys. Goalkeeper, defenders, midfielders, strikers. It's all on you. You want that chance to go up to Houston and play up there? Show that you want it more down here first.
Look, I said it last week and I'll say it again. we might not like the times when coach makes the substitutions. We might not like some of his starting roster substitutions. Looking at you, look at them. But tactics wise and gameplay wise, stats have shown that he's doing his job. He's getting these players in goal scoring opportunities. It's the players that are not putting it in.
Yeah.
I know there's comments saying that they want coach gone. Well, coach is doing his job. The defense is doing their job. Guess who's not doing their job? The midfielders, the strikers, and the goalkeeper. But more importantly, but we need to focus on the strikers.
You know, Edson, you bring up a very interesting point. Midfielders. Carson Merck, special shout to you. You brought out your article today about no bull. Okay. I'll grab a line that really stood out to me. And I'm sorry to call out this player. Isidro Martinez. I'm looking at you now. Production rate has gone down 10%. Now, I know you suffered a knock. And I know you're a better player than this.
Yes.
I know you're a better player. But I feel like you spent all of preseason with the Dynamo. There's a reason why you spent an entire preseason at Dynamo. We need you back at that level. I mean, I feel like you can be one of the best orchestrators this team has ever seen.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll step in real quick here. It's very true at the whole thing. Now, of course, we can give Isidro just a little bit of slack for this reason. Remember what type of team he was with last year. Now, I know that we've gone through a crazy time this year, as in that first game, and then the preseason, and then, of course, all these games that we've had since then and all the practices. But remember, he was working with a totally different team that he was 100% in contact with, basically. You're talking about he was almost, I mean, basically truly knew what he was going to do as well. And so they worked together. Of course, he had basically just had this different team with him. So it helped him out. Now, of course, not saying that you should give him some slack 100%, but just pointing that out real quick. Now, of course, just like we talked about, yeah, coaches putting out the players, they're not basically doing their job, at least kind of. They need to try a little harder to at least get something going. And it's Jinx. Like you said, Isidro Martinez, yeah, he took a knock, but he has not looked the same since last year. And that is a problem. I don't know what the deal is with him. Of course, it's just, and for my guess at least, this team, what does it lack? The competitive edge, that competition. They're basically it. We basically almost have no bench. At least for a lot of these players, they know that they've got no competition, so they won't lose their spot that much. And if they do, it is a person from the academy at most, or a person that just got signed from the academy like Diego Rocha. So it's simple things like that. It's terrible that they should never think like that. Their spot will never be safe, but yet they decide it is. And so then you get player ratings like this, in my opinion, where their performance just is not up to par, not up to what it was last year.
So I want to go ahead and look at the chat for a little bit. We do have some. Let me see if I can grab the. I want to grab the chat from, because I know we've had some comments also from Periscope. So, but going with the YouTube chat, we have a couple of things. So we have Gilbert says, you think a lot of it is that they're not used to the speed of the game at a professional level? I feel that way about someone like Kyle Edwards. He is a big boy, but he gets bodied off the ball so easily. RCN says, why didn't Nico Corti go? I don't know. It's the Dynamo way.
That's the Dynamo way as well.
I mean, I wish I knew. I wish I knew why they let Nico Corti go. He wasn't a bad keeper. He was a good keeper for us.
Yep.
And now, look, Ben is a really good keeper as well. He just had the bad luck of getting injured and now having surgery. So it looks like he's going to be gone for a while.
Yep. Yeah, it
Um,
doesn't look like any bone spurs, too. If he had bone spurs, it wouldn't be too bad.
Gilbert says the Dynamo don't want to keep players longer than 2 to 3 years. If I remember, they had promised him first team stuff, and that never materialized. Speaking of Nico Corti. He also says, this situation reminds me of Kepa with Chelsea. You can just tell that they don't trust him to even try, so they overextend and give up space that allows the goals. Oof.
Ouch.
Johnny says, Cello disappeared. Gilbert says, who's McLaughlin? I've never seen him. This is a good comment by Jose Mario. It says, we need to have continuity. This roster is practically brand new. They need cohesion. We need to have a long-term player that's at least a 2 to 3 year continuity.
Okay. I'm glad that there was someone with some common sense that brought that in. If there was to be any type of continuity, this is it, folks. This is it. No Dynamo, no Daddy Dynamo, as other people from the USL love to say. No Daddy Dynamo. So this is all on you guys, currently on the squad. All 23 to 25 of you at this point. This is all you now. How badly do you want that standard contract for MLS next year? How bad do you want it? This is your time right here. You don't know if the Dynamo are going to be coming back to play soon. So right now, guys, this is your show. And I only see 2 players for the Toros roster who have been playing like they want one more year. And I'm going to say their names. The Roberts. Because according to FootMob here, your 3 highest player, or you know what, I'm going to go your top 4. Your top 4 performers, according to FootMob. Robert Castellanos, Carter Manley, Isidro Martinez, and Robert Coronado. Those are your top 4. Okay? Those are your top 4. Carter Manley's been there before. He's been in the MLS. He's played in the USL Championship. He's played in the League One. That guy's been through the trials of fire. Castellanos, he's playing out of his head right now. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He's playing out of his head.
By the way, Chu Enriquez says in Periscope, Castellanos needs to score more. Huge shout out to Chewy. Rook says, prefiero a ti. I guess he prefers me over Nico Corti. Oof. Those are big. Those are big words, Rook. But continue, Ray.
Another guy who's been playing outside of his head. Robert Coronado.
Mm-hmm.
You and Cello have identically the same FootMob ratings, just hundredths of a point just separate you. And then there's a little bit of a tail off from Coronado to your next 2 closest players. Any of you guys want to take a shot as to who those next two are?
Murphy?
No, but he's one of your favorites, Edson. Lucatero and Thiberson are your next two closest.
Wow.
And then there's like a bad drop off with Murphy being the next one in line.
Who he, by the way, had 88% passing accuracy, if I'm not mistaken, in this game
Correct.
against, right?
Okay, yes.
So he's on the rise.
Now, the rest of this roster, the rest of the top performers according to FootMob, Luca Perpa, Kevin Rodriguez, who has fallen short of my expectations, and Deshane Beckford. That rounds off the list of top performers according to FootMob. It doesn't give me anyone else.
Coach actually had a comment about Deshane Beckford, and obviously all other players too. But he brought out Deshane Beckford's name, and he said, Deshane Beckford has shown us that he can do just what he can do. Just look at the goal against OKC Energy. The problem is, basically, just to summarize it, they're not consistent. We know that they can do much, but they don't show it all the time.
I mean, we don't know if it's a psychological thing with these players. We really don't. We don't. I mean, we can only judge on what we see on the field and what the coach tells us.
Johnny, I definitely agree with you. I think we need some veteran players. The problem is the Dynamo doesn't want that. And we know who runs this. We know who runs this team, technical-wise, a.k.a. Matt Jordan.
Yes, you, Matt Jordan. Yes, you, Matt Jordan.
Bald, big forehead, Jordan.
Ouch. Ouch. We don't bully here, Jacob.
No, we bully because Toros bull. We bully.
Ha ha ha.
And yes, Jordan, your contract is up. And I expect for you 1/1/2021, have a nice little American luggage bag and just get out.
Yeah, we'll start back for you if you want to, because your season's done as well. I don't see MLS coming to a full MLS season until next
You would
year.
assume that, but I mean, it's MLS. So Jose Mario says, president and coach need to invest in players that are willing to show the way to the rooks. Oh, okay. Basically,
Jose and Mario, that would be nice if the team had independence.
Keyword right there. Castellanos should be committed to a long-term contract. I wish, but obviously he is also looking for a way up to MLS. We would love to have him on a long-term contract. So even if he doesn't make it to MLS, we could still have him here. I think it'd be a shame if we lose his talent to another USL team.
I fully agree with that statement. To be honest with you, I feel like Castellanos has shown some bright spots with Los Dos, and
but you know what else? And Coach brought it up. He has matured a lot the last couple of weeks, both on and off the field. Gilbert says, any word on Tyberson and Beckford? They look to have not great hamstring injuries.
To be honest, when all of the roster information that was sent to us by Media Relations Director Maidani Ramirez, Tyberson's out. Ben Willis out. And the one guy who I didn't see listed, or I might have just overread, or must have been a complete oversight on my end, Timo Milic.
Um, Jose Mario then says Beckford reminds me so much of Carlos Small. A lot of talent, but they are not willing to put in the work.
Oh man.
Harry says disappointed it took 75 minutes to bring up Matt Jordan. I mean, the fact that we bring up Matt Jordan almost every show in a negative light. So, I mean,
Hi, Harry.
I think he's assuming that they're starting to put bets on us now. How long will it take for down in the Valley crew to bring up this man's name? Who's got 60 minutes? Who's got 40 minutes? Who's got 70?
Wait, we're in Vegas already? Damn it.
I think so.
Did we become
Gilbert
a prop bet show?
Gilbert does say that Milic is back in training. He was taking shots today and not alcoholic shots.
Ouch.
So I think that's a good sign.
Even that hurt me. Even that hurt
and
me.
Edson
Gil.
says we don't bully, but he takes shots.
I'm the one drinking the alcoholic shot. That wasn't a jab at Timo Milic at all.
Ouch. Bruh. I thought
So I don't see how that was supposed to be taken like as a jab at anybody.
Not alcoholic shots. Like you assume that he drinks a lot. That's what it sounded
me.
like.
No, that's talking about me. I tried to make a joke, but apparently it went over everybody's head. So I'm sorry about that. Let's move on.
Oh man, I'll never forget when you posted the picture of that Dos Equis bottle, and I immediately like fired a little chink in the armor, which failed. Like yeah, it was like the target was so big, I can't believe I missed it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Harry says need to get a hold of Carson to set that up. Oh, talking about the bets thing. So.
Well, yeah, I mean Carson is in Vegas, so yeah,
Right.
I can see him being a side professional dealer as a side job, aside from running BGN Network.
So, guys, if you guys have any other questions, be sure to put them in the chat. We'll try to make this run until 8:30 or around there. I think stat-wise, Ray, I think you pretty much mentioned what needed to be said. I mean, it's the same thing. Offense can put that ball in, and the defense is doing all they can. And the goals, when the goal happened to be one of the goals, was another mistake by Paul Blanchett. And let me grab do you have the stats on you right now? What was the possessions?
60-40.
60 for Tulsa?
Nope.
For RGV?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well that's different. That's different from previous games.
Yes, very, very different. In fact, I'm looking at the Foot Mob website. I was looking at the phone.
That is Foot Mob.
Foot Mob, the Foot Mob website here on my laptop, and then for the individual stats, I had to launch the application. But let's take a look at the stats here. Ball possession, advantage Toros.
Mm-hmm.
Total shots, advantage Toros. Chances created. Here's the big disparity. 10 for Toros, 2 for Tulsa. Big chances. Get ready to cover your ears, your eyes, anything you guys can. 0 chances for Toros, 2 of them for Tulsa. That's your game summary right there, folks. I don't care about the passing success. I don't care about the fouls. I don't care about corners, offsides, shots on target, off target, blocked. That don't matter to me. But the big chances, they were.
How did they not count the goal though?
Well, the thing is that Tulsa scored from open play and then the blatant soft penalty, which nobody saw on television, folks. Nobody did.
No. The stream went out at that time, like right after the goal. The stream died.
ball hit Kyle Adams' thigh, and then Adams, doing his best possible job not to touch it, hits him like near the bicep area, and spot kick given.
Appreciate Jose Mario. Appreciate you coming in. Hope to see you the next week. Take care, man. Appreciate you coming in and participating in the chat. Continue, Ray.
Yeah, so nobody saw the spot kick penalty that was adjudicated against Kyle
You know what's
Adams.
fun? And you know what's funny though? There was a similar situation on Tulsa's side in the first half or in the second half. I don't remember.
It was it was during the second half where there was a spot kick that should have been awarded to the Toros.
Going with this referee's discretion on that. If he called it on Tulsa,
But you
that
know who
play
had
should
the
have been
clear
called.
review though?
Who?
It was the assistant referee. He had the clear review.
And still didn't call it.
Nope. And I'll go ahead and say this, but that assistant referee, he works here in the Rio Grande Valley, folks. How do I know this? Thank you, ProRefs.com, for providing that information.
Well, I mean, that would kind of explain it if he does, because that system of refs isn't necessarily the best system of refs by far. That not club, but the association of refs that's down here that also works for high school sports. They can be sketchy. I've heard it from people. I've heard it from sources that whole side of refs comes from, I believe it is La Jolla, and I've not been impressed with them in high school sports, or sometimes I was, but right now, of course, you can get those bad refs that aren't necessarily the best.
So this game can pretty much be summarized by lack of finishing. And once again, I'll say it again, it's embarrassing that.
No, I mean, forget about the lack of finishing. I don't think the Toros created one big chance aside from that beautiful set piece that Cello, Coronado, and Castellanos had.
There was another play, bad decision making by Garrett McLaughlin, and Coach Echeverry actually did mention it. So let's go ahead. I know you guys will probably not be able to hear it. So if you guys, I'm talking about you, Ray and Jacob. If you guys can kind of look at or watch the stream, so you'll be able to hear. I mean, Ray, you were there. You were there at the press conference, so you have an idea what's on the video.
Look, full disclaimer. I would have been happy if my answer was no comment.
But let me go ahead and play so you guys can listen to the parts of the press conference by Coach Echeverry Sunday afternoon. This was after Saturday's match. So, all right, let's take a listen.
Coach, last night was an unexpected game. We had like a 3.5-hour delay, which caused kickoff to be around 11:30. Then in the first half, the game got stopped again due to lightning, which caused another delay to go past 1 a.m. How did the rain and the delay affect the momentum of the game? And if any, did the mood or mentality of the game change throughout the long delays?
No, I mean, obviously it's difficult. It's not easy because whenever you prepare, whether it's with the rest of the food that you eat and everything is pretty much a preparation for us to start at the correct time. Obviously when you're delayed an hour or so, it's you can make do. It makes it a little tougher when you start that late, but it was with both teams. So in that sense, it was it's not the ideal situation, not the ideal circumstances. But it is what it is. I think not so much the late start. I thought that once we started and then the delayed, that kind of maybe that made it a little tougher because now it gives the other team a chance to rest a little bit more. And I thought that if there was going to be an issue with energy and stuff, it would have been in our favor. But once the long delayed gave them an ability to catch their wind and relax and regroup. They also changed their formation, so they got an opportunity to see what we were doing. Because I thought that we were being successful in regards to moving the ball and finding some pockets. Unfortunately, just in the final third, it wasn't good enough.
Coach, good afternoon. I wanted to ask you, another tough result at home under the most unusual circumstances. I just wanted to ask, defensively last night, after you guys give up that second goal, you guys make your slew of substitutions. It just seemed that the offense kind of improved a little bit. But how much did the absence of Tyberson hurt you last night, not having him available for the game?
Yeah, he's a player that's dynamic, has goals in him. He's also capable of holding the ball. And I mean, when you're watching the game, there were so many times where we couldn't pass and trap the ball in the final third. I didn't think we were as clean on the ball as we needed to be, and just lacked ideas and just a little bit, just maybe that inexperience that we have and the anxiety, anxiousness that we, in the final third is just not clean enough. And so even though we get ourselves in some decent opportunities, we're not creating like clear chances. I think the only chance that we had was Garrett in the second half. He was 1v1 with the keeper, and maybe in that situation, you wanted to scoop the ball just over the keeper as he's flying at him, but he shoots it right at him. And we had another header, I think, off a set piece, but we are not creating in up front, nothing that you could say, okay, oh, this was clear. I think after we scored the goal, there was an opportunity when JC stole the ball and kind of went at the defense and was on top of the box, but he shot it high. But besides that, I just didn't see us being clean enough, clear enough in the final third. And so just not enough.
Coach, you guys have been dealt a good run of bad luck here with the COVID tests, the rescheduling, the truncated schedule with the 3 games in 6 days, and then you get this downpour last night. How difficult is it? How difficult has this stretch been, both just in general, and have you ever had a stretch like this of kind of strange luck, strange situations in your coaching career?
No, it's just weird. It's weird because some of those things are not things that we can control, and that's what it makes it so difficult when you have things that you can control. Then okay, and if you plan incorrectly, if you don't do something correctly, then then it is. But so many of these things are out of your hands, and you put in other people's hands. And even last night, when we continue, I mean, at one point, you're thinking about the safety of everyone, and I'm thinking of the safety of my players. So that was my concern in regards to just them laying around, hanging around, and not doing anything, not eating, not being, and just being exposed, all of us, and them in the locker room, with COVID, just mask and all that stuff. But it's like I said, I mean, in this game, it was for both teams, and I just, I mean, the first goal, the decision we make is just poor, and they capitalize, and even in the second goal, we don't mark, and we let the guy get out wide. We don't mark inside the box, which causes the guy to get a free shot. And okay, maybe it's not a PK, but the two actions prior to that, you have to be better to prevent that. And it just seems that every time we make a mistake, we get punished. However, when the other teams make mistake, we are just not clean enough, and we are not savvy enough to be able to punish them. I mean, and even throughout the stretch, we've had so many opportunities where we could have put the ball in the back of the net, and we failed to do so. So it's I mean, when you look at the game, and again, I mean, I got some, and not that you want to go, you want to go with stats and all that stuff, but I mean, throughout the week we were working on, trying to get in the middle and find a third, how to break them down, how to find gaps, how to keep better possession of the ball, how to make sure that we played in their end, getting some opportunities through set pieces and corners and all that stuff. And when you look at it and all those aspects we improved, and I thought we were better than them, but the one that counts is preventing goals and scoring goals, and mistakes that we make, and it's not good enough.
Being able to capitalize. I think he put it clearly, and this sums up this whole season by the Toros. Other teams are able to capitalize on our mistakes. We are not capitalizing on their mistakes. And that's exactly what's happening. And this is why I feel like from here on out, our biggest focus should be putting pressure on our strikers, our offense, to do their job. And I guess we got to I don't want to say cut some slack on Paul Blanchett, but he isn't the villain in the story, or he isn't the biggest villain in the story. So sorry if we ever came off as trying to burn him at the stake or something, but
that goal against San Antonio, that was like type of glitch goal that should have never happened.
It was a FIFA goal.
Yep. Ouch. FIFA goal.
Yeah. But you can see I don't know what you guys think from coach's body language. There's
obvious discontent with him himself personally, because he feel like he's giving these players the opportunity to succeed here.
Mm-hmm. One of the things he did also mention on the record was this whole season was planned on the basis of, and this whole roster was planned on the basis that we would get a lot of Dynamo loanees, whether it's Michael Salazar, Nico Lemoyne, Marcelo Palomino, and he also mentioned Nico Hansen as being constant reinforcements for the Toros this season. And COVID really screwed it up. And now we have to deal with these young guys who are not doing their job. Now moving on to this week's game against Austin.
Duelo de desahuciados.
Pretty much. Austin's having this whole issue with COVID within their players. They played this past weekend against San Antonio, and they lost 4-2, I think.
Yep, 4-2.
4-2, having not practiced at all because of the positives, the positive tests within their roster. And now, either number one, that game will probably be postponed if there continues to be positive members within their squad, or they will be making their way down. They're playing at HB Park, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, it's in Austin.
It's
Yeah, that's in Austin. That
Okay, so it's
is
in
at
Austin.
Bolt Stadium in my background.
So yeah, Bull. I don't know. Guys. Is it? I thought that this Tulsa game was the perfect opportunity to wake up for this team, and it wasn't. I don't have the confidence
No.
that this game against Austin Bold will be that game, even with the situation that's happening with Austin Bold.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first real quick. I mean, RGVFC is what 0-1 in Austin, if I'm not mistaken. That was their first year last year or something like that.
Correct.
Yeah, the
0-1.
Nico Corti red card that should not have been game.
Yeah, exactly. That in general, that was a crazy game. It was back and forth for a bit, and then things went south very quickly. And so, yeah, it's just A, they haven't done well there in the first place. B, most likely won't do well just due to the fact they don't have enough firepower. Just like Coach said, they can't finish at the moment. But it is true. We go back to about a year or two ago when one of our, I'm pretty sure, ex-players said this: when we start scoring, the floodgates will open. That is true. We have scored a goal. We've scored a couple of goals this season, but have the floodgates really opened? No. So it's a struggle right there. Then once again, and yeah, I'll say this: yes, we can cut, Paul Blanchette some slack here because, well, yeah, it's not all of his fault, considering you can only do so much up until you are human and make a mistake, which is consistent considering everybody else is going to make a mistake before you do. You are the last line of defense. That is the way soccer goes.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's just going to be one of those games.
I feel like this might feel like a total. I mean, both teams are in dire need of points. Austin won their opening match, and they look pretty rusty against San Antonio. However, they were able to get some of their chances through.
Yep.
However, I will say that that they are going to try to bully the team around again. I think that mentality of theirs hasn't stopped
Of course.
because they're just a much bigger, much older, experienced team.
Yep.
I just feel like the Toros just have to mature psychologically and not get bullied around like they've been in the past.
Yeah.
All right. So, predictions for this upcoming match.
I'll lead it off. We walk out with 3. It's going to be the ugliest win this franchise has ever seen. And what I mean by ugly, you know how we've harped on our strikers?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like our defenders might pick up the scoring slack on this.
Very possible.
Yeah. Off of set piece, probably. Just like it happened against Tulsa.
That's exactly where I was going to go. We might be able to put one behind off a set piece. And the final score is going to be 1-0. We keep a clean sheet miraculously. Bold prediction.
Oh, that wasn't bold.
No,
That sounded pretty bold.
This is the bold prediction. Normally I would say that we would get run riot on, but I feel like the team can actually run riot on Austin. But just due to all the circumstances given, we end up in a scoreless draw and we lose multiple players to multiple red cards.
We talking what, 9 or 7? As in, we play with 7 players and somehow still get a draw.
We end
'Cause I
up
think that's like the limit.
8. No. You know what? Scratch it. We're gonna go with 9.
Okay.
Jacob.
Okay. Well, normal prediction. I think we are actually going to get run over a bit, and we'll lose this game 3-1. We score early, and then they score it to kind of late in the second half or midway through the second half, and then of course the final nail in the coffin or whatever the saying is, like that. And that's just a normal prediction. I still, for a normal prediction, expect things to get a little hasty, and that's exactly why they would be able to score those goals. For me, the bold prediction, the very bold prediction. I mean, I want to go with my same everybody gets a red card, but I'm going to change it up. Everybody on our team is actually going to get a yellow card, where there's going to be one that survives, and we will have a little bit of a goal scoring fest, and it's going to end with 7 goals. RGVFC takes the 3 points. What I mean by 7 points is, well, you do the math, we win 4-3.
I know for sure that this is going to be a low scoring game.
Well, that's why it's a bold prediction.
No. I'm kind of leading off to my prediction. My regular prediction, 1-1 draw. And Austin bold. But don't be afraid. Don't be surprised if the bold gets a shutout against the Toros and take the 3 points. My bold prediction, somehow the offense wakes up and we win 3-1 because Austin loses a couple more players to COVID. And that's my bold prediction. But honestly, I don't have a lot of confidence in our attack going into this match.
Mm-hmm.
I find it a lot more probable that this game gets postponed.
Yeah.
That this team actually, I find that more probable than the team actually getting a win because our offense waking up basically.
Yeah. And I know who would probably agree with you, and that's the Three Birds Bold podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Would have loved to have them on, but man, we really needed to talk about this situation that happened this past week and throughout this whole tournament. But guys, that's going to be it for this week. I know we kind of extended a little bit long. I really am sorry for the technical difficulties that happened at the beginning of the show. Thank you, Xfinity, for letting me down these last couple of days. Can't believe it. But appreciate you guys for tuning in and hanging out for almost a little bit more than an hour and a half, of constant discussion about everything. I feel like we said what needed to be said regarding front office. Mm-hmm. Once again, the invitation is out there. If Ron or any member of front office wants to explain exactly what happened on the record, on what happened that day, or if they want to apologize, if needed, then they're more than welcome to come in on the platform.
Yep.
But if they don't address this one way or another, I feel like I said, we'd be extremely disappointed that there has to be some accountability for this. I feel like I said, we as fans deserve it, but more importantly, coaching staff and players and your employees deserve this apology. If you know you screwed up, they deserve even more that apology.
Yeah, players technically would be employees as well, but yeah, in general, just they deserve an explanation big time, and just a little shocked it hasn't come out yet. At least just something.
Mm-hmm.
I know we talked about it earlier. I won't get into it again, but it's just a little shocking for sure that it just has nothing of it has come out yet.
That's probably because nobody else has mentioned this, and I really wanted to wait until the show to put it out in public. But we'll see what happens. You guys know where to contact me, and we're more than welcome to have you on the show. I appreciate everybody that was out there in the chat, not only here on YouTube, but also in Periscope on Twitter. Appreciate all of the feedback. Periscope, I'm sorry if you guys felt a little bit left out with the chat, but I need to open up the actual, the Restreamio chat window so I can see the actual chat going through for both platforms, whether YouTube or Periscope, but I should fix that by next week. I definitely appreciate everybody who watched on Periscope. I appreciate everybody tuning in, everybody who left their thoughts. I'll go back after and look at the show and see what y'all posted, and I'll try to respond as best as I can to y'all. Thank you everybody for all of your support. What I do want to say is, if you guys missed any portion of the show, be sure to check it out in the next couple of days on our podcasting platforms. You'll find all of the links to the podcast on BGN's website, the Beautiful Game Network's website, bgn.fn. I will be posting that on social media so you guys can have direct access to the episode segments throughout all of the available platforms, including Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud, and Anchor.fm. So be sure to check all of that out there. Ray, Jacob, appreciate once again and giving y'all's thoughts on the show. Definitely appreciate all of y'all's input. And hopefully this improves. And guys, players that I called you out, I'm not taking back anything that I said in the show, but what I do want to say is, don't take it personal. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are public figures. You're gonna have, just like I am, just like Ray is, just like Jacob is. We're all, not all the time there's gonna be praise. We're gonna get criticism.
Yep.
And it depends on each and every one of us and how we take the criticism. You can take this the correct way and see it as, hey, you know what? I really need to improve this, or he's right. Or you can take it the other way and get offended by it and, look at us with anger or hate or with hate. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for me. The fans, you are not going to, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not going to fool the fans. They know that y'all's performance isn't that great. And if we don't mention that, then we look like accomplices, when we're complicit to the bad performance of this team. So that's my final thought for the day. Gentlemen?
Front office, players. Look, I feel like this was a right time to call you out on the issues, because I've seen this team from the get-go. And yes, you can blame the Dynamo for giving us what we've got to now. But then there's also the part of you guys to do what you need to do to perform. I think you guys have all the best assets and resources available to you guys. But you don't fool the fans. You don't fool them. And I think there's that growth, a level, and frustration with the public. And for some of those comments to have read, get the coach out, that needs to be from Houston. But here locally, while you have the chance, while you have the opportunity, take that opportunity. Make the most of it. Jacob.
Final thought from me. I mean, it's simple. Got to do better. Even RGVFC. To just this whole thing. Once again, I've said it before. We look like the Big 12, the dumpster fire of conferences. Just, I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, y'all, we basically filled it off. Well, it's frustrating. And when we lose a player to a different team, I do not feel bad one bit, especially for that player, because I know they're technically going to do a little bit better to have maybe a little bit of a better opportunity to get that MLS contract, considering things that have transpired and so forth. And I go back to it. We were constantly losing players. We even lose players in the academy. So it's just, what more is there to do besides try? But at that same time, you got to have some records for even players and fans to want to watch your team.
Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all next week for another episode of Down in the Valley. Appreciate the support from Icarus FC, Roughneck Scarves, the Beautiful Game Network, and Natural Beauty Spa. Take care. Be safe out there. Wear a mask. I implore you guys. This is real. Our community, the community of my parents' parish, just yesterday lost two people close to the family. Friends of the family from my parents' church. This is real, guys. We need to do our part to end this as quickly as possible. Have a good night.